Hey everybody, this is Pray for Wolves. How y'all doing today? Just wanted to kind of go off the cuff with this one. I don't really have notes for this video or a script or anything like that. I just wanted to talk about a topic that has been talked about on the internet ad nauseum and has probably been beaten to death like a horse over and over and over again, but I kind of wanted to just give my off the cuff feelings about it. Uh, As of making this video right now, I am currently 7 weeks sober, and I have had no nicotine, no alcohol, and no THC for 7 weeks now. That is the longest I have been sober since I got out of the military, which was, I think it was 2021 I got out of the military, and it just became 2025. So, it's been 3 or 4 years since I've gotten out, and I've been sober now for 7 weeks. And kind of the idea, or I guess the concept that I had for this video, was to explore the idea of uh, depression versus sobriety. And what do I mean by that? I mean it's a double-edged sword. This life that we live is a double-edged sword. And any sort of addiction, whether it's a drug addiction, whether it's, alcohol, weed, harder drugs, or whether it's food, TV, binge watching, you name it. You can be addicted to fucking Cheerios, for God's sake. I mean, there's really no limits or boundaries in terms of what addiction can encompass. But one thing that I've learned is it really is a double-edged sword. You kind of have to pick your poison or pick your suffering. You can either suffer towards nothing, or you can suffer towards something. I like to think that I've been making a lot of good and smart decisions about my future lately. I like to think that I've been doing things and trying to approach life in a way that is productive for myself and healthy for myself in the long run. It's not easy. And a lot of people say when speaking about mental health issues, when speaking about depression, they like to say, oh, you got to put the work in. But it's like, well, what does that look like? It's easy to say, and I'm sure you've heard it so much, and it kind of gets frustrating too, because it's like, dude, you got to be a little more specific than that. I think the reason that it's kind of difficult to be more specific about that is it's different for every person. The work that I might need to put into myself, it might look a little different than the work that other people have to put in for themselves, because we might need to work on different things. And when speaking on topics like this, of course, it requires a lot of nuance. And I think one of the issues in our society, especially on online and social media, is that we try to oversimplify everything. We try to make everything black and white when it's very complex. It's very, very complex. It requires a lot of nuance to talk about these subjects. So I kind of generally understand that concept of suffering towards something, picking the good kind of suffering. So in terms of being sober, one thing I've noticed about being sober, and my issue is that I really love marijuana. Marijuana, I just abuse it to no end. And I used marijuana as a crutch for many years. And it got so bad to the point to where I couldn't even be, I couldn't be around family. I couldn't be around friends. I really couldn't do anything without being high. Because I didn't want to be sober, because I didn't want to deal with my problems. I kind of wanted to push all my problems to the side, pretend like they never happened, pretend like they weren't there, pretend like they weren't constantly gnawing at the back of my skull, and just try and ignore them. But what I learned is that pretty much no matter what you do, if you have things that you're avoiding, if you have issues that you're avoiding, they're going to catch up with you at some point, whether you like it or not. One of the things that amazes me about depression, anxiety, mental health issues, whatever you want to call it, one thing that really amazes me is just how uh, something that is mental, something that is in the mind, can manifest itself physically and actually weaken you physically and break you down physically. That is an incredible concept to wrap your head around. It really is. Um, in terms of what life is like being sober, I think that I really do genuinely, like, I 100% believe this, that being sober is far more weird, it's far more bizarre, it's far more strange than any drug experience I've ever had, and any drug experience I could have. Um, Having to look people in the eye, having to accept that they have a universe of individual thought and agency in their brain, just the same as you do. Driving down the road every single day, knowing that every single car you pass has a person just like you with their own hopes and dreams and a completely different reality and a different life that they've lived. I mean, that is far weirder than any drug because, and here's why I think that. I think drugs oversimplify life, and that's why people love them so much. And especially marijuana. I mean, oh my God, everybody and their mom smokes nowadays, smokes weed. And there's a reason for that is because it oversimplifies your life. I mean, to the nth degree. If you're faced with a lot of issues and a lot of problems in your life, marijuana, it just takes it right away. It completely dulls your senses and it dulls your mind to the point where you don't think about or you don't care about those issues. You become totally okay with a lot of the issues that are going on in your life. And it makes you complacent, I think. And I'm not saying, I'm not a crusader against marijuana legalization or anything like that. I don't care. That's not my fight. That's not my race. I don't have a horse in that race, so to speak. So don't interpret this as that. That is definitely not what I'm going after here. What I'm going after is I'm saying that marijuana is definitely used as a crutch by many people in the United States nowadays, in the states where it's been legalized. It is definitely used as a crutch, and I think that in terms of American society and the legalization of marijuana, I tend to agree with Elton John, of all people, which is interesting that he seems to be against marijuana legalization. But I mean, I really do feel like it's just opening up the door for more addiction. I mean, people have been addicted to cigarettes for how many years now? People have been addicted to alcohol from how many years now? And I feel like most people in life, and I mean, I'm guilty of it too, because I was literally high for years of my life. I smoked years of my life away and I dulled myself and I didn't want to participate. Like, I didn't want to look people in the eye. I didn't want to leave my house. I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to crawl into a fucking corner and die. And that's what depression does to you. And so now being sober, you spend years in depression self-medicating, and being sober for 7 weeks now, of course the depression is not just going to go away. And one thing that I need to learn as a sober individual is how to find my own healthy coping mechanisms to be able to deal with that depression, to be able to still see the good side of life and remember the good side of life. And I feel like that's really important. It's kind of, this is kind of how I look at it. And I got the idea from The Silent Prayer by Jesse Lee Peterson. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about, just look up Jesse Lee Peterson Silent Prayer on YouTube and it'll walk you through it. But I kind of got this idea that I have from that. So my idea is this. I like to take inventory of what's in my mind. And I treat my mind like it's an art gallery. So you step inside your own mind, and all of your individual thoughts are paintings up on the wall. And so you're looking at all these different paintings on the wall, and all these different paintings, all these different frames that are located all over the walls. Those are all of your biggest, most prominent thoughts that are consistently going through your head on a regular basis. And I just sort of like to take inventory on what's up here. What do I have up here? What is going on up here? What am I thinking about the most? Is it positive? Is it negative? Is it in the middle? Is it pessimistic, optimistic? And I do my best to take down all the frames and all the portraits that I think are negative and shouldn't be there. And I try to put up the ones that are more positive, more uplifting. And really just I try to organize what's up here so that my mind is full of as many positive things and as many things that point me in a better direction for myself. I think it's very easy, and I've seen it happen to a lot of different people either personally or just online and different personalities. You kind of see people fade away. And that's what depression does to you. Depression kind of makes you fade away from life. It makes you fade away from the world, and it makes you fade away from all of the things that once brought you pleasure. And I understand that real life is grueling. Real life is miserable, and it's fucking horrible. And it is your responsibility, and only your responsibility, to make sense of it. The way that you make sense of life is not going to be the same way that another individual makes sense of their life. The things that bring you fulfillment and the things that bring you true happiness, it's not going to line up necessarily with the person next to you. But that's okay. You have to be able to accept that your reality is not their reality. When they say perception is reality, it's 100% the truth. The way you perceive yourself and the way you perceive the world completely and totally dictates your experience going through this life. And that is what I have been learning on my journey of sobriety and battling depression. And I think that I have a long way to go, but I know that I kind of knew going into this that things would not get easier, because I have to learn a whole new way of living. I have to learn a way to live where I am not leaning on substances for my happiness. I am leaning on myself. I'm leaning on myself, my past life experiences, and I'm leaning on the reasons that I have to keep living, which are the things that bring me that sense of fulfillment, the things that bring me that sense of purpose. And that's important to remember. It's important to remember that when you're in a rough period of your life and you're struggling through a bad situation, or you're at a job that you hate and you're working at a job you hate, regardless of what the situation is, right? You have to remember the good moments in your life, the moments that you were the most happy, because those moments, that's why you do it. That's why you suffer through all the shit days. Even if you had a shit year, even if you had 3 fucking shit years in a row, 4, 5, 10, 20 fucking horrible, miserable, worthless years of your life passed by. Does not matter how long it's been. Even if it's just one moment out of 10 fucking years of your life, even if it's just one moment, even if it's one thing, one reason to hang on and to hold on there, you have to cling to that for dear life, and you have to stick around for it. Even if the chances of that coming back around to you or happening again or whatever, even if they're small, you have to remember that one moment that you felt fulfilled, that one moment that you felt alive, and you have to hang on to that, and you have to do everything in your power and everything that you can to get through the bullshit days, to get through the bullshit moments, and to make it to that next great moment. And do everything you can. It's not just going to come to you. You have to work for it. You have to put in the work for it. You have to fight for it every fucking day. You have to fight for it as hard as you can. You might feel like you're dying to get to it, but you have to keep fighting for it, because eventually it will come to you. And when it does, then that moment, once you finally fucking get to a moment that makes you feel that way again, guess what? You'll be holding on to that one until the next one. That's how it works. Unfortunately, that's the way life is. But those moments, those good moments, are so fucking good that they overshadow all the bad ones, and they make life worth it. That's what you have to hold on to, and that's what you have to do it for. If you don't do it for yourself, if you say, you know what, I think life is fucking miserable and worthless, and there's no point in me being here, find one thing, anything. It could be your mom, it could be your dad, it could be your sister, brother, a best friend, it could be a coworker, it could be anything. If you're not living for you, live for somebody else. Fuck it, live for somebody else. Don't be selfish. If you truly love somebody and care about somebody, don't off yourself, live for them. Find a reason. It's never 100% hopeless. You can find some sort of meaning in this world, some sort of purpose for yourself, but it will not come to you. You have to make it. And that's what I'm learning on my journey. And I realize that we're all going through a journey of our own. And I just want to say, anybody out there that watches this, I hope that you are able to make the journey your own. And I pray and I hope that you're able to get through it and remind yourself of the reasons that you're here every single day. That's pretty much all I have to say. yeah, just kind of my experiences so far, learning how to cope with depression and cope with life, and just kind of stuff that's been on my mind lately. Hope you guys are having a great weekend, and can't wait to talk to you on the next one. God bless. Pray for wolves.